Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. Welcome or welcome back. So, here's my thoughts on universal basic income. Is it a good idea or not? Well, I actually think it might be, because if you have a basic income, I mean everybody have a basic income, then it gives you a lot more power, doesn't it? It gives the employees a lot more power to be able to uh, be able to negotiate for better pay, because then they can just leave the job if they feel like they're not being paid enough for their time. I mean, if you can survive just by the universal basic income, then you're more likely to you'll be able to just say no to whatever BS that they're demanding of you. So in that way, I think it could be good, but it's like some people have some concerns that it could be misused, like the government would use it as a way to control people. So I could also see that side of it, that if it's in the wrong hands, then they could then try to bribe people and say, if you don't do XYZ, then we're going to cut it off. So then you wouldn't really call it a universal basic income then, because it would be excluding certain people from it if they didn't do what they were told. So yeah, but if it's just kind of like not, if they, we don't have like some central authorities who don't have our best interests at heart, have control of it, then yeah, it could be a good idea, I think. I mean, just give a lot more power to ordinary workers who oftentimes they feel trapped in their job. Now, I wouldn't say you're trapped anyway. Like, there is ways out. It's just sometimes it can be hard to leave. It's like you might have to just do some kind of more extreme measures, like start an online business and then leave the country or something like that. So I understand it can be difficult for people, move into a cheaper area or something, but like it's but with like universal basic income, people would feel like it'd be a lot easier just to pack it in. And you might say, well, but who's paying for the universal basic income? Well, there's an idea actually on land tax. There's actually a political ideology called Georgism. It's also called geo-libertarianism. So there's this sort of idea that we should only be taxing people who own land and the profits made from that land, and that way it could be then redistributed to society as like compensation for possessing that land, because we didn't consent to these people buying up all this land and make profit from it. So we should at least get some compensation from that. So I can understand taxation from that perspective. Some people say taxation is theft, but when I see it from that kind of point of view, I think that we should as a society be compensated for land being used to make profits, which for example, you got billionaires who are making billions and trillions in total off their land. So if they had to pay a percentage of that, then that money could then be distributed into society to help them, sort of like survive without having to slave away every day. And I mean, why is it that people are still having to work 9 to 5 in this day and age. It's not right. So apparently even like people back in, a long time ago, so I was watching this video about like how even people like in ancient Rome, that they had a lot of time off work, and they weren't necessarily working as hard as you might think. They had a lot of breaks and stuff. And that was back then. And it's like people are accepting really bad conditions, and oftentimes people are even getting, like even when they're not at work and they're getting harassed with messages from their boss. So, I mean, we shouldn't be accepting this. We're in 2025, for goodness sake. Surely we should have something better than this. Everyone shouldn't have to just be working. Now, I would say we should be looking at other solutions as well, like planting more like fruit trees and vegetable gardens and things like that, for people to have more access to good quality food for free. But yeah, like housing is actually the most expensive cost generally, and there's a lot of buildings that are not being used, and this is where this land tax thing could come in, and some companies might sell off a bunch of land because it would actually be hurting their profits. So because the value of that land would then be factored into how much tax they're having to pay. So it could be a good idea to tax these rich millionaires and billionaires to compensate the society. So yeah, I mean, if you disagree with this, let me know. But it's an interesting ideology, this Georgism stuff, but I'm not necessarily 100% on board with it. But I think we should be looking into things like this, because it's quite a bit obscure stuff, and like we're presented with these different political parties like Labour, Conservatives and all that, but I don't think any of these people are going to solve the underlying issues of the economy and everything else in society. They're just there to, just basically get votes, essentially. They'll just do the bare minimum just to get votes, to try and appeal to whatever side they're trying to appeal to, and whilst also trying to appeal to their corporate donors. So there's this kind of like compromise they have to make, and it's just so corrupt. So but yeah, I think that everyone should have some kind of basic salary. But maybe even we should be learning more like survival skills, learning how to build a shelter and things like that, in case we need to. So, but yeah, or even looking into alternative lifestyles. But I don't know. I mean, some people say, oh, it's going to cause inflation or whatever, that it's going to, because there's not going to be much productivity, and there's going to be this whole thing of more money chasing fewer goods and services. But I think that's just brainwashing, I think, from these corporate types who just want you to think that everyone should be working, because that's, if nobody wants, if no one decides to, I'm not saying that no one should work, but if people had more power to be able to quit their job, then that would be bad news for corporations. and big businesses, they would no longer have leverage. They would be, oh wow, what was that bird that I just saw? It was like a, hang on, I just missed it. Let's just hang on a second. Yeah, I don't know, it was looks a bit different. I think it had a bit of yellow on it or something. Yeah. Saw a bird earlier today actually. I was out with someone and they reckon it might have been a song thrush, but yeah, it's good to get out in nature and you never know what you're going to see. So yeah, it was like, there was this like, I believe it was like a song thrush possibly, and it was like about the same size as a blackbird, so it's possible. But you know, going back to the topic, like, yeah, we should be trying to look at alternative ways to live, if, you know, just as like, even just as like a backup, say like, you know, looking into van life and things like that. Because let's say you decide you want to quit your job, you might just like, you know what, I'm just gonna just quit and just, you know, live free. A lot of people are deciding to do that. You know, they're saying, you know what, I don't want to be a, you know, like just another cog in the machine. I'm going to live life my way. You know, I'm going to just do things on my own terms. Might start their own YouTube channel. Maybe they'll just do some online coaching or whatever it is that they love to do. And they're not burdened by all these bills, all the stress of it all. You know, all the taxes, you've got council tax, you've got income tax, you've got so many different taxes. So, yeah, so I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, well, if everyone decides that they want to do van life, would then, you know, it would become more expensive perhaps, I don't know. But people are getting sick of this system and they're looking for another way that is more about freedom, personal freedom, rather than just being a cog in the machine. So we shouldn't just be a cog in the machine. Like, we, you know, if you want to work for a company, that's okay. If that's what you love to do, but you should find something that where you feel like you are part of something greater and not just a corporate slave. Because that is just such a, it will just feel so dehumanizing and just so like you're just a cog in the machine. Like you're just a number to them. Now, of course, there's some companies that do respect their employees, but unfortunately, I think they are the minority now. And a lot of people are just feeling burnt out. They're feeling depressed a lot of the time, and you could say, oh, people are being so entitled now, thinking that they should get free money and that they shouldn't have to work. But it's like, you've got people like Elon Musk. You know, how much is he getting paid in welfare? Technically, he's actually the biggest welfare scrounger in the world, I've heard. Something like billions every year. Look into it, you know. You know, just, I'm not going to make any claims here, but just go and look into it. It's probably not the only one, right? How many people are getting grants from the government or whatever to, you know, it's like, why do these people need grants? They've got so much money, they can pay for it themselves. So why do they need public funding for it? I don't understand, like, but yeah, it's just mad to think that people have a problem with just some kind of average person getting maybe 1,000 or 2,000 a month in welfare, when you've got billionaires getting paid literally millions and billions in welfare. You know, it is absolutely insane. Like, I mean, they're not going to get paid billions a month, but like they're going to get paid probably, like, I don't know, they might even get paid millions every month. It's just that it's insane. Like, how is, I don't know, how is this even happening? Why are people putting up with this stuff? Like, people think it's morally right for Elon Musk to get so much welfare, but then, oh, you know, if the average person's getting 1,000 a month or whatever, then somehow that's criminal or whatever. Just shows you the hypocrisy there. Oh, but Elon Musk is doing something for society. Really? I mean, I'd argue that a lot of these people are more of a net negative to society. They're like scrounging from society. And I mean, you could say, oh well, well, it's like electric cars and whatever. It's like, okay, well, they're not even that good, I don't think. From what, you know, I've heard there's a lot of issues that are not really, you know, sort of like they don't want you to know that they're actually not perfect. They're made out to be like this clean, you know, sort of like safe fuel, you know, with these, you know, electric cars, but I don't think they're as, you know, kind of was it sustainable and eco-friendly as they make you believe. So a lot of it's just a bunch of gaslighting. It's like you got people like, I don't know, these, it's just in general, I just think that these elitists, a lot of them are just a bunch of parasites. Just, you know, they're not actually really providing any value for society, a lot of them. And you could say, well, you got people like, you know, like the Mark Zuckerbergs and you know, they're providing some kind of value, but you could argue that social media has done more damage to society than good. I mean, it's one of those that's kind of depends on your own perspective and all that, but you know, I just see it as kind of, you know, like social media is kind of a disease in a lot of ways. Now, it has some good things about it, but on the whole, is it really a good thing? So, and people are like, oh, well, they're creating jobs. That's their argument, that these people are creating jobs. But then, at the same time, it's probably taking jobs somewhere else. You know, as technology progresses, it's, you know, a lot of other jobs are gonna get lost, like, so you've got corporations that are doing away with just your average work jobs and stuff, like, you know, small businesses. A lot less people are going to be out socializing, so there probably won't, so a lot of these bars and stuff won't be making as much money. A lot of these small ones I'm talking about, the corporate big ones will, Weatherspoons and what have you, but the small ones, nah, a lot of them went down during the whole lockdown fiasco. But you know, it's just we have these parasites in society, and it's okay for them to be making so much money at the expense of other people. It's absolutely disgusting. But people have a problem with some people in society claiming a bare minimum amount in welfare, you know, so that's why I think it would actually be a good thing to have it. You know, it would give people a lot more power. It would give people more chance to pursue their passions and their ambitions and things, so that they don't have to slave. they can find out what they're really about, they'd have more time to do that. Because if you're working 9 to 5 constantly, then how much time have you really got? And energy have you got in some cases? Now, some people are just so mentally drained, and you could say, well, but people are not working that hard now, blah, blah, blah. Well, in a lot of cases, people are. You know, it's oftentimes it's mentally draining. And even if it's not the case, it's like they just don't necessarily have that much time to do much else, because they've got other commitments that they need to attend to. So by not having to do that, would give them more time to actually figure out what kind of, you know, how they want to make their money and all that. So, and yeah, it's just laughable, some of the stuff that people say. And I kind of would have probably fallen into at one point and thinking that these people are entitled, but when you realize how corrupt this system is, then I'm like, well, can you blame people for just wanting to take a little bit of money out of the system when you've got all these corrupt billionaires? It's like they're having the lower classes in society fight against each other. I think it's deliberately done. They want us all fighting against each other because they don't want us looking to these greedy corporations who are actually causing so much damage. They're causing damage to the environment. They're causing you know, like financial distress to a lot of people. Like yeah, I mean, it's just absolutely disgusting. But I think I've said enough in this video. But so yeah, what are your thoughts on universal basic income? I kind of just went on a rant there, and just in general on kind of the system that we're in and the corruption. But yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, like we shouldn't be letting it be used as a way to, you know, manipulate people into doing certain things. For example, you know, like do this thing to protect society, or we won't give you your money. And the thing is, if it is actually protecting society, then you should be doing it. But the government oftentimes will pretend that they are doing things in favor of society, when really it's more about control. So we have to be careful about that. But if this could be done in a way that where governments can't just freeze people's money because they are dissidents or something like that, because they have an opinion that they say, oh, it's a threat to national security. That as long as it's not like that, then I think it could be a good thing. And a lot of these worries that people have about it, I don't necessarily think that they would actually come into fruition. You know, when you really think about it, people want to live a good quality of life, but they would probably, you know, choose to turn down the job if they feel like it's not. You know, they would quit their job if they feel like it's not serving them and it's not giving them the life quality that they want, that you feel like they are being exploited, that they don't feel like there's enough flexibility and whatever it is that they feel like they need in their life. You know, they might want to be able to spend more time with their family, for example, so that they could be able to negotiate better. Because at the moment, they don't really have a lot of power. Yeah, you've got unions and things like that. They can be effective in some ways, but it's not necessarily going to work. They can just ignore it, and all it would do is just cause some minor disruptions, and oftentimes it doesn't even help the situation. Now you could say, well, sometimes unions can be quite entitled in some cases, and but I think that but yeah, like the unions, like unions can be there has been successes, but I feel like it's not enough necessarily. It's just the workers need to probably have some, just like a kind of buffer there, so like, if they leave their job, so they could like save it up as like a emergency fund. Let's say let's say they give you 1,000 a month. Some people's lifestyle might cost them 2,000 a month or 3,000 a month, but if they have that 1,000 a month from their job and they save a little bit of that every month, let's say they've saved up 500 of that a month, then after like a year they have a few thousand in there, so it would tide them over for a while, and they could use that time to build up something else or look for another job. So it just gives you a lot more freedom as a worker. So yeah, hope you're all doing well. Another beautiful day today. It's not been as hot today. I actually prefer it like this. It's quite warm, but it was so hot yesterday. It was I was actually struggling with my workouts yesterday. It was brutal. But yeah, anyway, everybody take care. I'll see you all soon. Peace out. Bye.